Alrighty folks, so Gray Zone 0.4 Spearhead update is out. It's been out for at least a week or two now at the time of publishing this video, and the list of everything that Madfinger has added to this update of Gray Zone Warfare is a mile long. That could be a video in and of itself. And while it's good and has significantly improved in many areas, there's just something almost intangible about it to me that I can't quite put into words, but it's making me just feel a little off about the game. Now, before I dive into my personal thoughts about Gray Zone Warfare, let me make it very clear from the beginning. I do not think that Gray Zone Warfare is a bad game. In fact, in its current state, it's the best that the game has ever been. These are just sort of personal gripes, if you will. That being said, I certainly did think that this game was pretty bad in the past, and I didn't have too many nice things to say about it there in the beginning, as it was nearly unplayable for me for a variety of reasons. However, the game has indeed come a long way and deserves credit for bringing it to a much more polished state. Again, more polished than it ever has been. It's certainly worth trying if you're looking for a new extraction experience, as this update has added a ton of new features, content, and refinement to the game, too much to cover in this video alone. So what are these little gripes of mine about Gray Zone Warfare? To start, it's been kind of weird to put into words exactly what it is that just has me feeling sort of detached from the game, or how I feel like I could be more involved in the game, but there's just some sort of quintessential essence that's missing from Gray Zone, and I can't quite place it. But I think that for me personally, it starts with the map, the world of Le Mans. I love the idea of what they've done with the map. I love that it's this massive, open, sort of ever ongoing infill, exfil server, and it just sort of continues to play out in real time, and there's not like loading into this and loading into that. It's just sort of always there. The helicopter in, the helicopter out. Really awesome way to get in and out of an extraction zone. I wish more extraction shooters had something like that in place. It's way better than staring at a loading screen. The jungle itself looks great. The thunderstorms, they're an awesome layer of immersion to the map. So the only thing that I can really presume that for myself makes me feel this way is because it's all just so similar. Now, I am aware and will take full responsibility for the fact that the map is huge and that there are plenty of areas that I have yet to explore and discover, and I know that there are modernized, sort of first worldy areas in this game in comparison to a lot of the sort of shanty shacky areas that we see, a lot of. However, we're really still talking about this Vietnam jungle style of urban. So most of what we're seeing are these rudimentary concrete buildings surrounded by these sort of shanty shack houses, like I said, and even the more modern ones. I mean, yeah, they're nicer. They make you feel like you've transitioned into a little bit, different and more unique, a more up-to-date environment. But personally, I just feel like the game would pull me in so much more if there was a variety of landscape and city centers to explore that took you out of the jungle a little bit. The map is just so big, and to traverse from one end of the map to the other, and it just primarily be large sections of nothing but jungle with these scattered buildings, shacks, towns, hideouts, whatever. I feel like a large city, or maybe different ecosystems within that, could add a new type of heartbeat to it. Again, that's just personal preference, like most of everything in this video. I just am not like a deep in the Vietnam jungle for the whole time kind of guy. Like, it's cool, I can appreciate it, I love what they've been able to do with it and the scale and how it works, but I like being able to go and do different things in different areas. That's just me. Another thing we need to talk about is the enemies, the AI. This has been a big point of contingency for this game for a long time, and it has gotten better. It's not perfect, but it has gotten better. I do enjoy the way the enemies react to different gunshot wounds now, depending on which part of the body you hit them in, but there is still a lot of inconsistency in what kills them and what doesn't. During one of my last play sessions, I counted 6 shots to the chest with a rifle. Granted, it was a small caliber round, but when shooting a guy wearing a tank top, it really should not take 6 shots, and that happens on and off. You'll run into enemies that go down in a realistic amount of time, and then you'll run into some that just seem to eat bullets. Apart from that, and this is something that's so important to me when you take on AI in games like this, and that's just that in this game, the AI to me just do not feel threatening or challenging. When I play Escape from Tarkov, for example, I know for a fact that at any moment I could run into an AI enemy, whether it be a rogue or a guard or whatever it is, a regular scav even, or a player, and I stand just as much of a chance either way of being dead almost instant. Whereas in this game, the AI don't pose really any real threat at all, and half of them sound like children who are just learning to speak for the first time, even though you can tell the intention was that they are not speaking English as their first language. Other than occasionally being difficult to kill for some reason, even though they have no armor or tactical gear, they just don't really present any threat or any reason to worry about them at all if you can just run past. I do want to say though that again, I will take some of the responsibility here because I have very likely not found a lot of the harder areas where the enemies are more kitted, more geared. There are bosses. However that works, I know there are ways in the map that the AI gather or whatever that increase the challenge and increase the subsequent rewards from killing them. I have not found that yet. I guess I haven't traversed enough of the map yet. Killing players is one thing, but the AI, I guess I just haven't found it. Speaking of rewards, the loot for me is still largely underwhelming. There is no crafting or marketplace system in the game that I'm aware of that gives any sort of use or purpose to the items you loot beyond selling them. This is the same exact issue that Arena Breakout Infinite struggled with in the beginning until they added their workstation features that allowed you to craft in a similar Tarkovonian, whatever, style fashion. So I really just don't get the sense of accomplishment when clearing out a village only to find nectar and coconut water, fanny packs, and AKs. I know that there are plenty of boxes scattered throughout the buildings, you know, ammo boxes, gun boxes, medical items that can potentially contain better items, weapon attachments, grenades, etc. But I just didn't counter them enough of the time or at a high enough loot value that made me feel like all the time I spent in this town was really getting me anywhere at all. So part of that could be on me, of course, for just not visiting enough areas with difficult enough enemies or the probability of higher tier loot, but I do feel like Gray Zone has struggled with the loot issue since the beginning, and they still sorta kinda do from my experience thus far. So to kind of piggyback off of that, you know, I think it would be really beneficial if this game would adopt something similar to the way that Tarkov has it set up, where you have a marketplace. I'm sure this is in the plan. You have a crafting mechanic, an ecosystem of crafting somehow that makes the items you loot worth having, because right now, unless it's like a weapon attachment or a grenade or a health item, you just sell it for cash. There's no other reason to have it. So that paired with a linked sort of search feature that shows you what can be combined with what, guns, attachments, optics, magazines, all that kind of stuff to help you build out kits and build out weapons would be a huge quality of life feature for this game. Right now, the only thing that I've noticed in that regard is that when you select an item from a trader, it will highlight the other items that are compatible with it in that trader's menu. But there's no other way to really search for what's compatible or to know what's compatible for what when you loot something and bring it back that I've seen. I could be missing it. I could just be a total idiot. I have not figured out how to do that. Maybe it's there, maybe it's not. If I'm missing it, just let me know. But I think it could really benefit from that. The last little tip I'm going to talk about in this video, guys, is in relation to the player's movement. It's way better than it was before. I'll say that for sure. It's far less stiff, but it's still just a bit odd. I don't know. I really wish it was more fluid in all directions of movement. It seems like depending on the direction you're running or the change of direction while you're running or initiating a run, it's like the character will just sort of transition into an entirely different movement mechanic or stop moving altogether and go into like a really slow walk or just completely kill the run. So from my experience, it seems like it's mostly related to sprinting and altering direction when sprinting. Something minor, you know, the addition of the tack sprint in and out is nice. I like that there's different, you know, levels to the speed of sprinting. But when you're changing direction, forward, backwards, side to side, I think it could still use some smoothing out. And the lean walk speed to me is still just unbelievably slow, like way too slow. I know it's a tactical shooter, guys, so I understand that the idea is to sneakily sort of get your way around a corner. But in this game, man, I mean, you are moving at a snail's pace when you are leaned. And I don't think it needs to be that tactical. Everything that I've covered in this video, guys, is just my personal taste. This is not a video about just like dogging on Gray Zone Warfare and pointing out all the things that are wrong with Gray Zone Warfare. It's just personal little blips on my map. Overall, I do think that this update is a huge win for the game, and I never would have recommended anyone try it before, but now it's definitely in the best spot that it's ever been in. So a huge congratulations to Madfinger and all the work they've put in. I know a lot of people have been enjoying it for the first time, and if it's something that you're looking to get into or thought about trying, it was on sale. I would recommend trying it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But the game has definitely come leaps and bounds from where it was. The list of features and tweaks and optimizations that they've added to the game in this update is extremely long. I recommend that you head over to the Steam page and check out everything they've done to it if you're interested in that. Let me know what you guys have been experiencing in Gray Zone. If you like it, if you don't like it, if you think it's perfect, if you can relate to some of the things that I brought up in this video. These are just my observations and they may not reflect your experience in the game. I've got about 20 hours in the game, so there's still plenty more for me to figure out and discover to level up all that good stuff. Anyway, folks, I appreciate you guys watching the video. Share your thoughts with me down in the comments section below. Throw a like on it, and I'll see you online.